The paint layers were reduced using a gelled solvent solution, working in small areas at a time to carefully control the removal process. It was repeated several times. This approach was taken to be able to carefully examine the finished layers as they were removed. Small hand tools with custom-shaped heads were created to facilitate reduction of paint residues from crevices and along the veins of the feathers.
Numerous areas of cracking and checking were observed during the initial examination of the Eagle at the studio. The cracking is a result of compression set that could have occurred when the Eagle was attached to the ship's stern. The adhesive holding together the laminations of pine had failed, creating visible gaps in many areas through the torso, banner, anchor chain, and base. The structure of the Eagle had been compromised due to the delamination of the layers of pine and the cracking. Large splits and gaps in the surface of the Eagle were filled with U.S.S system flexible epoxy. Carvable epoxy was used to fill small losses and gaps. Japanese paper was adhered over areas of minor checking. Larger losses were filled with eastern white pine and carved to fit the area. A similar process was used to fill the missing portion of the tail feathers. However, due to the complexity of the loss, a model was first created using sculpting compound to use as a reference while carving. Epoxy fills on the back were toned to blend with adjacent surfaces. The larger losses were not toned to make it clear where new restorations were added. The bare wood was prepared for gilding by applying several thin coats of gesso with a brush to the show surface. The gesso was prepared from calcium carbonate and rabbit skin glue. It helps to unify and visually reduce the overall roughness of the weathered wood surface. However, not enough gesso was applied to completely hide the weathered nature of the surface. Once the gesso had dried, yellow size, made up of rabbit skin glue and yellow ochre pigment, was brushed onto the show surface. Several coats were applied to create a uniform yellow ground for the gold leaf. Thin sheets of 23 3/4 karat gold were placed onto a suede-covered pad.
A gilding knife was used to cut the gold into pieces.
Gilder's liquor, which is a very dilute rabbit skin glue, was brushed onto the surface in a small area. Next, the pieces of gold were applied.